What are you up to, you? Hey? Hey? Come on. Come on. Come on. Good boy. How do? Had snow in West Yorkshire. Boggy as now. So somebody again has sent me an article. Asked me to comment, asked me whether I know this guy or came across this guy. So we all know who Savile is. This guy, Jimmy Savile's flatmate, chauffeur, confidant, whatever you want to call him. His name was Teret. I won't be saying his name again. Pinned comment, I will put an article, link to an article. So this guy landed in Strangeways. I don't know when. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know him from Adam. March 1st, 2015, all Strangeways changed. All the wings, the dynamics. G-wing, that used to be the induction wing, became the VP wing. Those that don't know, vulnerable prisoners, i.e. those people, paedophiles, sex offenders that prey on the vulnerable, become vulnerable prisoners once they get in prison. Stephen? Silence. Stevie? Oh, he's in the water. Oh my Lord. Come on. Come on. So this guy, I didn't know him from Adam. I'm on visits running this day. So this is 2:15, sometime after March the 1st. I goes on to G-wing. G-wing, you would enter on the ones landing. There was a sterile area. Onto the wing, look up. On the twos was the wing office, as it were. It was an open office. Come on, let the lass know I'm taking 8 to visits. That's what you do. Shouted out these names, Teret being one of them. Didn't know who he was, like I say. So 7 lads walked down, show me their ID cards, put them in the sterile area. They can't go nowhere. I says to the lass, who's this Teret? What cell's he in? So she says to me, that's Ray there. Ray, first name on a VP wing. Let me just tell you about names. Me, when I work with young offenders, on the quiet, when nobody were there, most of them would call me Samo. Worthless, which I didn't mind. You know, I didn't want anyone calling me Mister. They did say in the private sector, you could have a name badge with anything you wanted to be called on it. They never did it. On the healthcare, when I worked in the SEG, we'd use first names. No problem with that at all, like I say. I wouldn't have been calling this guy by his first name, no. Simple as it is, you can call it whatever you like. No, it's not happening. So she points, so this guy stood there. I knew he were straight away. I don't mean I knew he were. I knew he was the prisoner that was going on a visit with me. He's looking at me, about 9 lads around him, yeah? Very aloof. I'll tell you about these people, shall I? They think they're bulletproof. They've been protected all their lives, mixed with the rich and famous. You know, they're looking down on prison officers. To be fair, quite a lot of people probably do. You know, it's not sort of recognised as, what's the word? It's It's like coppers, innit? You either love them or hate them. So I walked up to him, I said, Teret, again. This guy just looks at me, doesn't say anything. Little kid, who I knew. Yeah, it is Mr. S. Are you going on your visit? Look straight through me. Have you got your ID card? Look straight through me. At this point, turns round, starts walking back towards the sterile, looks up to where the lass were at the office. 7 off. That means I'm taking 7 to visit. She can mark them off her roll count. She says, aren't you taking Ray? I says, he's refused. She says, he refused. So she starts shouting down the landing. Anyway, I left with my 7 prisoners. Never thought no more of it. About a week later, my manager, not technically my manager, he was a healthcare manager. He didn't work on inpatients where I worked, but he used to deal with the complaints. Who have you been upsetting? I says, no one as far as I know. So there's a complaints come from outside, from some legal firm, some barrister, whatever. You, me, Officer Samworth, refused to take our client, Ray Teret, on a visit. Okay. So he says to me, you know how to pick him? I says, what do you mean? Don't you know who he is? No, I don't. So he told me. He says, what happened? So I told him the same story I've told you guys. He replied, word for word, what I'd said. Again, done now, not arsed. Arrogance, unbelievable. Come on, kidder. It's okay, go and have a wander in the snow. There's not a lot, guys. But in case you missed out, again, it's beautiful up here. I love it, me. About a week later, I'm back on G-Wing. Visits runner. VPs. Teret. So I obviously know who he is now. So I shouted, let me just explain what it is. No tannoy on these wings. I'd be a bottom at wing. Yeah. I would shout the 8 names out. The lads would come down, like I said, put them in a sterile area. We used to do it on K-Wing, used to do it on all the wings. 1 or 2 of the wings had tannoy, so you're good at office stage, shout the names out. That's what you did. Again, 7 come down. I can see this guy. So, I'm like, oi, Teret, yeah, Teret. So everyone's turning around. I've got a big gob, me. I'm loud. I says, just tell him I'm visits runner. I'm going now. He needs his ID card. He needs to come down here. Well, he strolled down like he didn't have a care in the world. Before, you used to put the prisoners in the sterile, open the gate, you'd rub them down. Yeah, you'd rub them down, take them to visits, and they get rubbed down again. Rub this guy down, nothing. Blank. Not said anything now. This is our second meeting, not a word. Takes him to visits. Again, thinks no one about it apart from you, Dick, or something similar. Maybe a lot worse. Because now I know who he is. Bringing him back. Let me explain about moving VPs in Strangeways, high security prison and other prisons. You get a radio, you can move 8 prisoners at a time. You ask permission. So, Officer Samworth, 8 to move from visits back to golf wing. You might be waiting 10 minutes because all other movement in the jail ceases, so you can move the VPs. VPs never meet normal location prisoners, although I have been in situations where we have that got quite tasty. So it gets me move on the way back, walking past the segregation unit. Yeah, somebody shouts out the seg, something to the words, Teret, you horrible bastard. They ought to hang you. I'm not hearing him speak up to now. He turns round to the seg, says something, I won't repeat it. It was something about children. Whoever had shouted out if they had children or grandchildren, what he would do to them. Yeah. I said, "Oi, you, shut your fucking mouth." He looked at me, beg your pardon. I says, "Shut your fucking mouth." That's it. Says nothing. Drops him back on G-Wing. Yeah, a week later my manager's up. Second complaint. Told him again what was said, word for word. Did you tell him to shut his fucking mouth? I says, yeah, twice. Don't know what happened. He answered the complaint. At the end of the day, got nothing to come. I also specifically said what he'd said, which was disgusting. These people, honestly, are above themselves. While we're on about Savile, spoke to someone who will remain genderless. A person. The time Jimmy Savile was in Ashworth Hospital, this person worked there. They made a complaint to management about what he was up to. It wasn't taken seriously. It wasn't followed up on. They made a complaint to the police. Again, it wasn't pursued. They made a lot of noise. The end result was they ended up leaving the job before they were sacked. Lots of people covered for these creatures. We know that. But you know, people did try to out them to no avail. Ashworth Hospital, this person said, was more interested in publicity and charity and press coverage than what was happening to people who were vulnerable and who were patients. I'm going to leave it there, guys. 2 or 3 people to interview this week on the question format. You haven't met them before. Going to do a little gig with Marvin and Kira once a week. We're going to do one for kids. Myself and Kira. I don't know how it's going to go yet. We'll try and format it different so, you know, people can watch it with the kids if they so wish. I think it's important educating people. Anyway, I'll leave it there and not waffle on. So, parting shot as always. Not me. How we doing, kid? Good boy. Come on then. Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming. Al City.